let's render this and let's just see how it looks with full settings. So let's do 512, 75, so that the actual resolution is 3000 by 3750 at 100%. It's the same as this. So yeah, 3000 by 3750 is usually what I'd render at. 512 samples should be plenty for this one. There wasn't much grain at all, or like denoisy nastiness. And yeah, I guess I could test out the light paths. Like, let's try reflective caustics. Not a huge difference, but might as well keep it on. Refractive, not doing anything. Volume, more light bounces for that. Doesn't necessarily look better, so I'll just keep it off. Is the volume still good? Let's just see. It doesn't need to be dimmer, brighter. Kind of like it with less, actually. Kind of like it with a little bit less right there. Sure. And more lights. Don't think it needs it. Is the exposure still up, or did I take that back down? Still up, but I kind of like it there. 1.3. Maybe let's just do one, like 0 point something. Yeah, I like it really dark like that. That's pretty cool. And let's, ooh, maybe just slightly higher, like 0.7 or 1 or something. Right there, perfect. Do I want this rotated up slightly? That's fine there. Maybe a little bit higher, like right there. All right, let's render this. Just hit render, and then I will come back when it's done and just, I might take like a 5-10 minute break. Last time I said that it was like 2 hours, but I'll try to take a 5-10 minute break, come back, and then just look at what I've made and just see if this is actually good or not. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay. So one thing I forgot to mention here is that this is part of my default scene, and I think I'll do a separate video on like the most optimized default scene. It's like the fastest route from idea to finished thing, and like how your default scene can help you there. But basically, what I have in my default scene is I have this mist pass turned on. So if you just go to this button right here, view layer properties, go to passes, data. It's actually right beside the denoising data that I was talking about earlier, but check this box right here, mist. Once you check that, this new tab will appear in the world properties, the mist pass tab. This drop down won't be there unless you check that box I just showed you. So I just leave it on these default settings usually, where it's just 0 to 100 meters. So start 0, depth 100, fall off on quadratic. I don't think it matters too much which one it's on, but quadratic or linear will be fine. And then I just leave that on in my default scene, so I don't even have to worry about turning it on. I just worry about it at the very end. Basically, when I'm done, let's just pull this open so you can see the image editor here, render result. At the end, when I'm done, all I have to do is when you check that box, that mist checkbox, now you get this new output from your render layers node here called mist, and you just run that straight out, and there you go. There's the mist pass. So yeah, so usually what I do is I just add a lens distortion in here, just to mimic what a real camera does a little bit. So this isn't like the most realistic version of it, but it's close enough. So something like 0.05 to 0.07 is usually a good range, I find. So let's try that, 0.055 to start. And there we go. Just softens the edges a little bit, has a bit of chromatic aberration where it's like, it's like 3D effect. Very subtle, but just makes it slightly better. So it's in there. And then that actually warps the image a little bit. So I'll show you how to deal with that with the mist pass in a sec. But basically, let's save this. So process 3. I usually change this to 16-bit color depth and 0% compression. I don't think that really matters. You can leave it on default. It's going to look the same, basically. Save that. And then let's run the mist. Instead of running it straight out, I actually like to run it through the lens distortion so that it has that same distortion applied to the mist pass and everything lines up properly. If you don't do that, the lens distortion actually just shifts everything just slightly. So like when you brush in your when you use the mist patch as a mask in Photoshop, everything might just be like slightly off, like a pixel or two off in the corners, which is not a huge deal, but just if you want it to be like perfect, just run it through the lens distortion like this, and then it'll line up all perfectly. You can also denoise that too, so if you just duplicate the denoise node and drop it in there, that will get rid of any grain in the mist pass. And then just save that as another image, so image, save, just call this whatever mist, hit save, and there we go. That's all I'm taking from here. So we're done with compositing, in Blender at least. So I'll just run this back in here. We can just get rid of this, wait for that to update and make sure it's all good, which I'm pretty sure it is.